Have you been there where you're trying to get your child down to sleep and it is just not happening? Let me share with you 4 reasons why your child is not sleeping. Hey there, my name's Rebecca Mickey. I am a children's sleep consultant and author. I work with families who have children under 6 years old. Big, broad range of ages and issues that I work with. I'm a gentle, no-cry sleep consultant. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't ever miss out on any other sleep tips or any of the 10-minute masterclasses. In today's masterclass, I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 reasons why your child is not sleeping. Some of them you may think make sense, others, may not make sense. So, reason number 1. Your child is undertired. They're just not tired enough. They are not going to sleep regardless of how much you want them to. So actually looking at the timing here can really help your child to be able to sleep, getting them in that perfect window. Now it depends on the age of your child as to how long they're going to be able to be awake for. A 4-month-old may only be able to be awake for an hour and a half before they need to nap, whereas a 2-year-old may be able to be awake for 6 hours before they need to go down for the night after their nap. So it really depends on your child's age. But if your child is undertired, they are not tired enough, they are not going to sleep no matter how much you want them to. I'm sorry. Reason number 2. If your child is overtired, they're going to struggle to fall asleep. Now, you would think the more tired we were, the easier time we would actually have sleeping. And it's actually the opposite. The more overtired your child becomes, the harder time they're going to have relaxing and unwinding and sleeping. And then their quality of sleep, when they finally get asleep, is going to be really poor. So, as I mentioned before, when we were looking at the Undertired, we have this sleep window where is this kind of perfect time for getting your child down to sleep. It depends on their age. It depends on their temperament as well. Some children can handle being that overtired a little better than others can. So you know your child's temperament. Are they more laid back and easygoing? Are they shy and slow to warm up, or are they intense and spirited? So knowing where your child is on the temperament scale will actually help you with this. If they're laid back and easygoing, they're going to be able to handle a little bit of that overtiredness. It's going to be easy for them. Even though they are overtired, they will then be able to sleep and sleep okay. If your child is a little bit shy, slow to warm up, they're going to struggle a little bit more with that overtiredness. But then when you're able to get them to sleep, they should do okay, but it may be tough for them to actually fall asleep. And then if your child is intense and spirited, these children really, really struggle when they're overtired. They're going to really struggle to actually fall asleep, and then they're going to wake really, really often, especially when they initially get down to sleep. There will be lots and lots of wake-ups. And then they may kind of crash for then a long period, but the getting to sleep can be really challenging. And then all those wake-ups, maybe early in the night, early in the nap, can be really, really hard. So making sure that your child is not overtired is going to really, really help when it comes to them sleeping. Reason number 3. If your child is overstimulated. Now, we want your child to be stimulated because this is how they're learning. And it's not that we are trying to avoid this. But what we want to try and avoid is this overstimulation right before sleep. Think of the level of stimulation as your child is playing. It's as if they're going up a ladder. And then if we've not been able to unwind them at the end of the day, they're right up here. Now, some children, again, temperamental dependent, are going to get right up there instantly. Other children will spend that day getting up there. But if we don't work on bringing them down a step or two, they're going to really struggle with that overstimulation. And children who are overstimulated struggle to fall asleep, but then often we'll see a wake up that happens at about 20 minutes. And it's a real quick, urgent wake up. And it's actually really hard to get your child back to sleep at that point. If we can work on relaxing and unwinding your child before their nap, before the night, they're going to have a much easier time falling asleep and remaining asleep. So one, we want to keep an eye on the timings, which are going to help avoid the undertiredness and the overtiredness. It also is going to help us avoid that overstimulation. And again, temperamental dependent. Children who are really laid back and easygoing have a much easier time with this. Children who are that intense and spirited, those are the ones who really struggle with this because they're so into everything. They hear a noise, they need to know what made it. They're really, really just 150% into life and really put everything into everything that they're doing. They're going to get overstimulated. So ways that you can work on bringing that level of stimulation down a little bit, keeping an eye on your timing, having a nice, relaxing, either nighttime or nap time routine, which is consistent, where you do the same thing in the same place in the same order. And then if you need to, having a walking wind down, where you're just going to spend a few minutes walking around. It's a rhythmic walk that you're going to have around before you then begin your nap time routine or your nighttime routine. This will help relax your child's brain just a little bit more before you get started. So that will help you avoid that overstimulation, and then hopefully your child will have an easier time falling asleep and, more importantly, remaining asleep with overstimulation. Reason number 4, why your child is not sleeping: because they're hungry. If we've got a rumbly tummy, we're not sleeping, and it makes it really hard for us to sleep. So if you want to look at how much your child is eating and when they have been eating, another thing you really want to remember here is because your child was able to go through the night without a feed doesn't mean that they're no longer ever going to need a feed then during the night. We have growth spurts that happen all throughout your child's life where they are suddenly putting a lot of effort and energy into growing, and they need extra calories, and if they don't get those during the day, they're going to need those at nighttime. And then we have distraction and all sorts happening during the day, and if your child did not get enough calories during the day, they are going to make up for it at night, whether they're 4 months old or whether they're 4 years old. So making sure that your child is not hungry is going to help us avoid those wake-ups. But there is no age or anything to show when a child no longer needs to feed during the night. So I really would suggest that if you've eliminated everything else and you're really struggling to get your child down for their nap for the night, or wake-ups during the night is when I most often see this. If you've kind of worked on everything else, try offering them with some milk, something to eat, because if they're hungry, they are not going to be sleeping. If you're able to then feed them, chances are you're all going to be back asleep so much quicker. If that's the case, you know then that it was definitely hunger that was causing that wake up. And then depending on the age of your child, obviously, it depends then on if you're going to be able to make up for those missed calories that they got during the night, make up for that during the daytime. If you're going to be able to be offering some extra milk feed or some extra solid feeds, some more snacks during the day, if you're going to be able to offer that so that they're not seeking those calories out at the nighttime. We're dealing with a young child who's still going to be having lots of milk, so a child who is under a year, then it may be really tricky to get those extra calories in during the day because there just is not enough time to do so. But if they still need them, the best thing to do is to just feed them. It's not going to last forever, I guarantee, but if your child is hungry, please feed them. If you woke up and you were hungry during the night, chances are you would get a little something to eat, and then you'd be aware that, okay, how can I avoid that happening tonight? And maybe I'm going to have a snack before I go to bed. Maybe I'm going to have a warm milky drink before I go to bed, which will help you. So then you can do the exact same for your child. Do you need to offer them a little snack, an extra feed before bed? Do you need to make sure that they're getting sort of some good meals during the day? A lot of time we have picky eaters, we have children that kind of can go on a bit of a strike with foods. So you want to make sure that you are getting enough calories into them during the day so they're not necessarily seeking those out at nighttime. But if they are seeking out those feeds at nighttime and there is no other way you can get them in during the day, the best thing to do is just to feed them, and I guarantee you will all be back to sleep so much quicker. Feeds do not last forever. I guarantee they do not last forever. And though waking up during the night, especially if your child has been sleeping through the night, and having to restart feeds may feel like you're going backwards, But you're going to be able to get back on track as your child then grows to even just a little bit. Even if it's just a week, then you may find that actually I am now able to get some more calories into them during the day because they're taking bigger feeds during the day. They're just changing their daytime routine a little bit, and they're able to go a little bit longer between feeds, which means they're taking bigger feeds during the day. You may be noticing this, or now suddenly your 3-year-old has decided that they love all foods and they just can't stop eating during the day. They're not seeking those out at nighttime. This is not going to last forever, I guarantee, but please, if your child is hungry, it's so much easier for everybody if you just feed them. Those are 4 reasons why your child is not sleeping. If you scroll down a little bit, you will be able to see a little download that I have put together for you on the 4 reasons here as to why your child is not sleeping. As I mentioned before, make sure you subscribe so you're never missing out on any other tips or another 10-minute masterclass. Take care and do sleep well.